Hello and welcome back to Russ's Movie Corner. My name is Russ, and as you can see, we are sitting in front of my movie corner. Have my Armor of God t-shirt on, my King of Kings movie right next to me, and judging by the frame around me, we are back, taking down another atheist. Today on the chopping block is SciManDan, also known as SciManDan around here, because he doesn't really talk about science all that much. And this is his video entitled Creationist Thinks Charles Darwin Was an Idiot. Now we're picking this up about a minute and 36 seconds into the video because his intro was very short. He just kind of says, you know, quote mining, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Because he thinks that, you know, like certain people tend to quote mine Charles Darwin as if Charles Darwin was some kind of god in the secular humanist eyes. But that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into this, and we'll kind of go through the debunk, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about what's going on here.
Right, back to today's video, which sees Matt Powell have a dig at one of the most influential people in the history of science, Charles Darwin.
It's kind of funny that you should say that, because, like, what was Charles Darwin good at again? What did he do? How was he that influential? I mean, all he did was study some finches and then decide, because, oh, these finches have some different beaks, they must have come from slime billions of years ago, right? Or was that hundreds of thousands of years ago? Huh. Maybe you guys should get that straight. Because you keep changing.
Now, many of you know that I once started the rumour that Matt Powell has a giant inflatable banana in his back garden, which he calls Dr. Peel. Now, I cannot confirm or deny if that rumour is true, but a lot of people are saying it. Anyway, on with the video. Take it away, Matt.
Darwin couldn't even get a job. In fact, he was so lazy he wouldn't apply himself that finally his dad stepped in and got him a job. And it was to be a companion for a ship captain as they were floating about near the Galapagos. Now, his role was unpaid, and it was just to give the captain somebody to talk to.
I don't think Matt knows how to use air quotes, does he? Why would you air quote that?
He's not. He's talking about how Darwin was basically a lazy bum, and he's not using air quotes there. He's just saying that it gave the captain someone to talk to. Okay, he's using that as actual quotes, not air quotes. Okay, that's what he's saying. Yes, Charles Darwin was lazy. Okay, he had graduated from Bible college, and he took 2 books with him on that sail on the Beagle. Okay, he took his Bible, which I don't think he really read, and he took a new book from the 1830s called Principles of Geology by Charles Lyell, a virulent atheist who hated the Bible. And it's all throughout that book. Okay? And he wanted to prove that the earth wasn't created in 6 days, that it was created thousands of years ago, not just a couple thousand years ago. And you know, he went out and he looked at layers of dirt, and he said this one's this many, you know, thousands, you know, hundreds of years old. This one's this many thousands of years old. This one's this many thousands of years old. This one's this many hundreds of thousands of years old. And then he labeled them. That's what he did. The geologic column doesn't exist anywhere on Earth, except up here in the minds of atheists.
And when they landed on the Galapagos, they observed a few finches that had speciated 14 kinds of finches, and Darwin concluded that just because they had slightly different beak shapes and different anatomical features, that all life shares common ancestry.
This is one of the most ambitious oversimplifications I've ever heard. Sure, the finches helped, but his trip was in 1835. On the Origin of Species was released 24 years later in 1859.
And Where was he wrong? You see, this is where SciManDan doesn't understand his own argument falls apart when he hasn't even debunked the point. Just releasing something 24 years later doesn't debunk the point that Matt brought up. What was oversimplified about that? That's what the theory stated. That's what On the Origin of Species stated. So what was simplification about that? Yes, Darwin observed a bunch of finches, okay? And he started writing the book, and then years later, okay, he compiled all of his notes and wrote them out and then turned it into a publisher, and they published it in 1859. And yeah, his conclusion was, I went to the Galapagos, I saw these finches, and therefore, and because they all had different beak shapes, therefore everything came from slime. Tell me where I'm wrong. Is that not what he said? That's not an oversimplification. That's what he said. That was his conclusion.
That you and I and every other living organism descended from a single cell. And this is considered the greatest discovery of all time. And Darwin is often considered the world's #1 discoverer.
Let's not forget the work of Alfred Russel Wallace, who was given the title of co-discoverer, if you will. Now, he actually did come up independently with theories on natural selection, so we've got to give him some credit too.
Bear in mind that our next #1 discoverer came across...
So? Okay, we're giving credit to a guy that Darwin didn't even put in his book? Did he ever write a paper? Did he ever publish anything? All you ever talk about is Darwin and Darwinism. Okay, natural selection. Did Darwin ever credit that guy in his book? You don't mention that. This is the problem with SciManDan. This is why I call him ScamManDan, is because he's not answering the question. He's not debunking anything. He's actually going right along with Matt Powell. With what Matt Powell's been saying. Tell me where I'm wrong. Seriously. This doesn't make any sense.
some things in nature that surprised him, and he tried to explain what he saw. It's not the story of a guy just trying to cause trouble. It's the story of the guy who made what you and I consider the #1 discovery in science so far.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mechanical Engineer. That's right. Bill Nye. So, let me get this straight. So, Darwin observed finches with different beaks. Jobbies means adaptation. Okay? No problem. No problem with that whatsoever. Adaptation happens. Okay? Christians have been saying that for years. Okay? We know adaptation happens. That we can observe. But from that adaptation, how do you go from, ooh, these birds have different beak shapes, to, we all came from a bacterium or piece of protoplasm somewhere, somehow, some way, some why, nobody knows, thousands, billions, millions, whatever years ago. How does that work exactly? Because as soon as Darwin left the realm of what he could observe on those birds, the different beak shapes, and started talking about how everything evolved, he left the realm of science and entered into a realm of religion and faith. Because you don't know that's how that happened. Darwin didn't even know that's how that happened. But they stake it on faith. Did you hear how happy Bill Nye was when he's talking about his guy, his man, the first pope of the evolutionary church, Charles Darwin, who recanted his story, but we can't talk about that.
After Darwin had made these observations and came to some interesting conclusions, his life took a very dark turn. In fact, he said this about women: man has ultimately become superior to woman. He said the chief distinction in the intellectual powers of the two sexes is shown by man's attaining to a higher eminence in whatever he takes up than can woman.
As usual with Matt, he has quote mind here.
Okay, then, it's up to you to provide the debunking then, Dan. Okay? So, if you think that Darwin didn't actually say these things, or if you think that he was taken out of context in some way, shape, or form, then it's up to you to provide the sources. It's up to you to go to the Descent of Man, and it's up to you to read those passages live on air to show that that's what's going on. Is he going to do that?
No. That first quote, for example, was from The Descent of Man. And the paragraph in particular that this quote comes from was all about sexual selection. That was the context.
So where's he wrong? So where's he wrong? Like, I mean, if this quote was supposed to be, okay, about sexual selection, okay?
Interesting conclusions. His life took a very dark turn. In fact, he said this about women: man has ultimately...
So if this quote is in regards to sexual selection, how did man become superior to woman? Does this mean that Dan thinks that he's superior to his wife? Does Dan think that he's superior to every woman on the planet? Because that's what his man here, Charles Darwin, is saying. That every man is superior to woman. And guess which religion actually believes that? And actually takes that to its ultimate destination? Islam. I mean, honestly? Is that what he's trying to say here? And that is stupid.
Sexual selection, that was the context. And how the male is often endowed with physical characteristics in order to compete for a mate.
Okay. But how does that make man ultimately superior to woman? Could a woman not choose her mate if she didn't want to? Isn't that why men fought over a woman? Is that not why, like, male birds in the species, like here's the funniest thing. You look at birds, right? The male birds are beautifully colored. Like, you go look at a duck, right? You go look at a mallard duck. They have that beautiful green head and the white stripe. Their feathers are very beautiful. Have you seen a female duck? They're mottled brown. Okay? They're mottled black and brown. They're really not that good looking. Okay? Because that's how birds attract their mates. Okay? The males walk around with the beautiful plumage. But how does it work among humans? Do males put on makeup? Put on fancy clothes that are wildly garish? And go strutting around in front of the women? No. No, it's the opposite way. The women dress up, and what do the men do? The men fight over the women. Okay? Is that... Who's got the superiority in that case? It's not the men. The women. Okay? So what was Darwin trying to say? Think about it. He was trying to say that men were better in every regard for everything than women. Doesn't matter. He was trying to take the agency away from women. Okay? I mean, that is absolutely asinine if Dan here thinks that that is in some way a dunk on Matt Powell and the quote that he took. That is absolutely stupid.
That is the context in which this was written here, but Matt's taken that short line and taken it entirely out of context. Now that's not cricket, is it, Matt?
And it even gets worse.
And he didn't even answer the second point. Did you notice that? He didn't even answer the second quote. Dan, if you're going to debunk someone, you have to debunk all their parts. You didn't even debunk the first part because you're basically agreeing with Matt that A, he said it, and B, it was in regards to sexual selection. Which means that yes, he was absolutely saying that men have become superior to women, when in actuality, women are the gatekeepers. In most everything, women are the gatekeepers. Why do you think that Paul told women to dress modestly? Because they're the gatekeepers. Duh. Darwin was trying to take away that agency, and he doesn't even do anything. He's just like, yeah, whatever.
Darwin's book, The Origin of Species, the original title.
Yeah. That's the original title, folks. I might be blocking a part of this, so I'm going to read it. It says, On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection, or the Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life. Oh, what's that little word right there? Oops. Yeah, not only did Darwin think men were superior to women, he also thought white people were superior. Yeah, he was a racist. I'm not. Matt Powell's not. But most people don't read the whole title when they talk about Origin of Species. They just say, he wrote the Origin of Species. Yes, On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection, or the Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life. That's the whole title.
Title is The Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life. Darwin believed that certain people groups were inferior to others.
Yep.
He said at some future period, not very distant as measured by centuries, the civilized races of man will almost certainly exterminate and replace the savage races throughout the world.
Yes, Darwin did consider white Europeans to be superior than other races in the world, which is plainly wrong, of course. There is no defence for that whatsoever. But I don't know how that argument from Matt takes anything away from the discovery of natural selection.
It has everything to do with natural selection, Dan. Because who did Hitler think he was superior to? Who did Stalin think he was superior to? Who did Pol Pot think he was superior to? Who do those people in Africa think they're superior to? When they were selling off their own people into slavery, who did they think they were superior to? It wasn't just white Europeans there, Dan. Okay? It's been happening the world over, and guess where it started? Charles Darwin. Eugenics. Yeah. Think about it. You can trace a lot of the 20th century genocides to that book and to those teachings on evolution. Because if natural selection is a thing, then obviously those that are stronger should be the ones that rule. Doesn't matter what color their skin is. Hell, even the Japanese believed it. Okay? The Japanese thought, hey, we're less ape because we don't have as much body hair on us. So, kill them all. They killed Chinese. They killed Americans, British. They killed Cambodians, Laotians. There was a hell of a lot of people they killed in World War II. Because they thought they were more evolved. It all goes right back to Darwin. So Dan, you can believe what you want to believe. Okay? But you cannot deny that evolution is truly evil.
If this is a character attack on Charles Darwin, then perhaps you should think about your argument a bit more and start attacking his work if you can do that.
He doesn't need to attack his work, dude. The work speaks for itself. Because again, history has shown us that since the publication of his book, and since the popularization of your theory, son, okay, in this whole thing, yeah, thought so. It's not working, buddy. Okay? I don't need to attack his work because his work doesn't speak for itself. Because most secular scientists have already debunked his own work as amateurish and stupid. Okay? I've even gotten that from people in my own comments section, Dan. So no. When your own side even says Darwin's work has been thrown out by modern science, we don't need to attack his work. And no, I don't care about Charles Darwin's character. He was a sinner just like the rest of us. Okay? And yeah, he was a racist. Okay? It doesn't excuse some of the things he said or did. Okay? But that's at the core of what evolution does. Because you start to think that you're superior to everyone else. That's the point, son. And I'm not sitting here thinking I'm superior to you. Even though some people have said that about me. They're like, oh, you think you're superior. I'm like, no, I'm not. When have I ever said that? I've never said that. Okay? So, no. We don't have to attack his work when your own side does it for us. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Galileo and Isaac Newton were grumpy sods, but their work was still brilliant all the same.
And they were both Christians. Oh! I bet you forgot that small part, didn't you? They were both Christian, Dan. That's the point. They were both Christian. I can't believe you just... Oh! Dude, you're handing me the material on a silver platter today. It is awesome.
And later on in Darwin's life, he admitted this. He said, "I am very stupid, and I hate everybody and everything." And so it would make sense that he promoted the lie of evolution. Because if he hates people, it's no wonder he came up with such a crazy, wild ideology.
But again, none of this has anything to do with his discovery.
What discovery, Dan? Natural selection isn't a thing. Natural selection selects. It's not a process, dude. It just selects. It's adaptation. That's all it is. That's all natural selection ever was. And you can't even understand that little tiny point. Okay? How do you go from different beaks to single-celled organisms created everything? Huh? You didn't even debunk that point, Dan. You didn't even show that point. You didn't even try to explain your own theory.
Natural selection is a thing whether you like it or not, or whether it impinges on your beliefs.
No. That's not the issue. Because when has Matt Powell ever said natural selection doesn't exist? When did Matt Powell ever say that adaptation doesn't exist? You won't find it in anything he's ever said or done. Any video he's ever made. You won't. And you can scrub that footage from here till Judgment Day and you're not going to find it. Okay? Because, like Ken Hovind, Matt Powell does believe in certain things. And again, natural selection selects. The genetic code to make the beaks that way is still in the bird. It hasn't changed form. It hasn't changed from a bird to a dog, or from a bird to a reptile, or from a reptile to a bird. Okay? Like his theory states, the burden of proof is on you, son, not Matt Powell. Okay? Because all Matt Powell is doing is showing you how much of a virulent atheist and misogynist Charles Darwin was. When he sat down to create this theory, when he sailed on the Beagle and he sat down and created this dumb theory that you all believe in, okay? That has created some of the biggest atrocities in the history of the world. Okay? Yes, even bigger than the Crusades. And the Spanish Inquisition. We don't deny those. But you guys deny your own history. You guys do. It is so sad to me that you do that. Because at least we as Christians, at least we acknowledge that, yeah, our church has done some bad things in the past. Because it's run by humans. And they're capricious, and they're sinful, and they're stupid. And so, yeah, they've done some dumb things. Okay? But you cannot deny that your own theory has created some of the biggest atrocities in the world in the last 2 centuries. And it started with Charles Darwin and his dumb theory that you don't even know, and you don't even know how to debunk, Dan. You don't even know how to properly debunk anything. That is hilariously funny to me. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, drop a comment below, let me know what you think of this video so far. It's only going to be 2 parts because it's this. I had a long filming session with Christy Burke, so this one's going to be kind of shorter today, and then the next one's probably going to be even shorter than that because we only got about 4 minutes and 25 seconds. And usually, like, the last, 25-30 seconds is his outro where he just has his music playing and Before that, he'll probably say a few things for probably about another 20 to 30 seconds. So we've only got about 3.5 minutes left on this thing. Okay? So anyway, as we say, we will see you on the next one.